Ladies and gentlemen, we are back from a long hiatus of doing live videos, but we're bringing back every Wednesday night at 7:15. We're bringing you guys back live videos, and we're going to be able to do this from our Coventry location. We're getting into saltwater, we're getting into freshwater, and we're going to bring in the whole crew. With this new streaming system, we're able to bring in the guys from the new Wakefield store, be able to bring in Joe from Seaconk, and be able to give you guys all around a mix all. I haven't seen you guys in forever. We just got back from a show today. I had a central show. I got Ernie with me. Ernie, introduce yourself, anybody that doesn't know you.
How you all doing today? I finally got Scott to start doing these live streams again. I think it's a great idea. We've missed everybody. Everything's been very hectic the past 2 years. Things are starting to settle down, so we're going to try to get things back to normal now.
And one of the biggest things is James Albright hit it himself right on here, and that comment was more saltwater. So I've been hitting you guys with a lot of fresh. Reason being is I'm trying to get more people into the hobby. I want them to be successful, but for you saltwater guys, a lot of this was designed for you so you guys could go in depth. In fact, next week, one of the biggest things I want to go into is someone's first saltwater aquarium, and as we go into the all-in-one series, we're going to start that this next week. But for this week, we just want to do a quick introduction, kind of tell you guys what we've been up to. Ernie, if you guys don't know, is the manager of the Coventry location, which is the only location with all the saltwater fish. Ernie, tell us what's happening with all the saltwater fish right now.
Saltwater fish, thankfully, the orders are getting more frequent and they're getting better. At one point, a few months ago, it was just give us whatever you had, and they were sending us tons of not reef-safe fish and just large angels and things like that. We were trying to keep the store stocked for you guys, but it was fish that you didn't really want. Now, thankfully, we're getting in tons of Anthiuses, Royal Grammas again, Cardinals, a lot of the nano fish, a lot of the smaller gobies. Everything is starting to come back around. Coral is still tough to get, but the fish aspect is looking very good.
It is looking great. And same thing on the freshwater side. We're seeing the most different diversity and some of the best diversity, especially when it comes to captive bred fish right now in the freshwater industry. And I got to tell you right now, some of these high-end rare plecos that are coming out from out of Belm are looking amazing. So anybody that's looking for that special niche, something you just don't see every day, that is definitely cool, something to check out at Seaconk. Right here at the Coventry location, this is our largest location. This is where you got freshwater and saltwater total mix. If you guys don't know, Seaconk is strictly freshwater, and the new store, Wakefield, which we're working on to be open the first week of November, will also be freshwater as well. And if you guys ever want to check out, make sure you check out our saltwater section. That is just starting to grow a little bit bigger and bigger right now here at the Coventry store. One of the other things I wanted to get into is different types of, we've had issues with buying materials. I'm going to say that is a legit thing. I'd like to tell you that is just something you see on the news. For us, that has been difficult. Fortunately, since we built the warehouse, it's been a lot better. We've been able to buy tanks. We've been able to store up, and I've really spent the last year just being able to buy and store as much as I can. So, because we're getting ready to hit the season. Once we go into November, let's think about it. We live in New England. It's about to get cold, and this hobby is just lit in the summer. I mean,
fish tanks are flying out of here. Thank God we have that warehouse. We have plenty of tanks in stock. And what we don't have in the stores, we hopefully have at the warehouse. It's just, the warehouse has been a godsend as far as tank stocks go, because the orders, when they come in, sometimes they're not coming in the best of shape, and we've got to reorder them. And if we didn't have stuff at the warehouse already, the showroom floor wouldn't have any tanks on it for a week or two. So
we're rock and rolling, though.
Tanks are selling like crazy, and it's great getting everybody set up with these aquariums.
Yep.
It's a wonderful thing.
We want you to, our whole goal, the whole purpose is we want you to be successful and we want you to love it. The last thing I want you to do is to get a fish tank, have all these problems, nonstop problems. You take the fish tank, you throw it outside, and you tell all your friends to never get a tank. And that is our whole goal of what we're trying to stop. One of the things, if you guys haven't checked out, you know what, Peter, want to do me a favor? If you guys didn't know, Peter Chuck is behind this whole thing right there. Hey, Peter, do me a favor. Can you hit that intro video? Let's just give him a quick view of everything that's going on at the other stores. appreciate it very much. So if you guys haven't checked out the YouTube channel, even though you guys on Facebook, some of you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you check out the YouTube. We posted a lot of the videos, especially of the awesome builds that we get to do on there. And we love being able to do these builds. And anybody that's from the old store, remember, we moved from the old location. We moved here. We kind of separated everybody out. We have a bunch of new employees. But I got to tell you, our employees are fantastic. And it's what really makes the company and the company culture. So I'm absolutely grateful, whether you come to Coventry, whether you come to Seekonk, or whether you're going to go down to the future Wakefield. The other thing that we've been working on, and you guys, anyone that's on Facebook is seeing it, is OSAchoice.com. That is pretty much where we're putting anything. We've been really loading up OSAchoice.com for sure you guys be able to ship. We get so many people, and we're so grateful that ask us from all over the country if we could ship to them. And when it comes to dry goods, we can do that. We're not doing livestock, just dry goods. Amy is like right on the side of us actually right now, and she's working on the website as we speak. And Amy does all the packing, all the shipping herself. When you send that email, it goes right to her. That is her answering back, and that's all available. So if you guys ever want to see anything on there, you can check out osachoice.com. No, Bob. No. We're chilling out at 3, right? Like 3 is definitely enough. We definitely appreciate it. One of the biggest.
He needs me here, Bob.
Yeah, we definitely need it. You know, we got to keep this fun. We got to keep this going. One of the different things is definitely seeing where the saltwater and freshwater is going. Why are you opening so many freshwater stores without saltwater? Super curious. James, that's actually a great question. So freshwater is to get more people into the hobby versus the saltwater. And because of the supply chain, we wouldn't even be able to supply. We wouldn't be able to order that many saltwater fish
hard to get right
to
now.
even supply those stores. And I love this. And I talk about this all the time. I love this industry with my heart and my passion. And I also, as much as I want people to have saltwater, not everyone should have a saltwater tank because the dedication that it takes to that, where freshwater is okay for absolutely anyone. I get anyone into it, but I am not here to send any animals to their death like that. I love these animals. I want to protect these animals, and I want to make sure they go into the right homes, and I just don't feel like it's responsible for me to do that for animals that are almost all collected and not captive bred nearly compared to freshwater fish that 95% of them are all captive bred. And they just do so well. So I just want people to get into a tank, be successful, get away from the insane Petco, PetSmart aquarium kit that never works because everybody gets that kit, it fails, and then they just either get out or they have to search out a store. And there's many great stores all across the U.S. where I can stop that and get people onto the right tank, get them going, get them love it. They want to do freshwater. The freshwater tank's doing awesome. They grow their passion even more. And then if they want to get into saltwater, they get into saltwater. Or if somebody really, truly wants to get into saltwater and they understand the time, the dedication, the love that it truly needs, then that's what I want to help them for. But I just don't want somebody just to put it together and they're throwing fish in the right there next day. It's not right. And that's why it's not a scalable model like freshwater is. And that's the honest to God truth. Thanks, Bob. We absolutely appreciate it. One of the things I want to know from you guys is how do you guys feel like it is, right? So we just hit summer, right? We just had a summer and it was so good. It felt so good to get out. I'm not going to lie. I loved being outside, feeling like I could pump gas without a mask on. It felt incredible. We're getting back into the winter season, especially for us guys up in New England. How are your guys' tanks doing? How are you guys making out? How are you guys feeling? Hit us up right now in the comment section. We'll have Peter bring some comments up. I just love the fact we're back and it feels great, and I just love how we get to move forward. How are you feeling about it?
It was a bit of a hiatus we took from being in touch with our customers, but we were very busy. Like I said earlier, that's settling down now. And we look very forward to getting back in touch with everyone again. Apologize for any inconveniences that might have come up. We're doing the best we possibly can. And it is great to be back on with you guys.
No yellow tanks in stock. In fact, we haven't even seen them on a price list at all whatsoever.
The price on them is so high,
they've been averaging around like $350 a piece.
It's not feasible to bring them in.
You guys thought about Red Sea today? Probably sells on the West Coast, but I don't see many on the East Coast stores sell some. Alan, that's a great question. So the best way I can describe it is like Why we use Waterbox. Everybody knows, like we invested in Waterbox, but it is like PlayStation versus Xbox. Anybody that's a gamer, right? You pick and choose which one you like, and I've just always been prone to Waterbox. I was very lucky to be there with them on the ground level, and I've always taken a lot of stuff with Waterbox personally. If anybody doesn't know, I went to Germany with Waterbox when they first came out, and I got to go overseas, and I went to Interzoo. And I was able to work, I got to see the sump systems, see the different styles, and just watching being a part of how they've changed so much today and how much they evolved. I'm telling you, like how they're built and how they're set up now versus like the first prototypes. And one of our buddies, we had one of the first prototypes ever, and we worked on that, and then we learned the problems from that and just kept going from there. And I love being on the ground level. In fact, any of you guys that don't know, you guys can actually, I'll be at Blue Friday for Waterbox in what is that, November? I think it's November 5th. It's Blue Friday. So, and that's it. But that's all it is. And there's plenty of stores out here that do Red Sea. And they go back and forth. You go see guys up in Springfield do a lot of Red Sea. Donnie will do Red Sea, but we just stick to Waterbox because it's just my passion. We know it and we love it. Well, I'm just reading the comments. Bear with me, guys, as I'm going through. Yes, I have seen the Aquaforce tanks as they're starting to come out. I've seen the ones. I haven't seen them hit the U.S. except for the one that who's got it right now?
It's a very interesting concept, but with the way the container ships are stuck offshore right now, it's just not. I don't feel it's feasible to try to bring them in right now.
Yeah, Coral View is who's bringing them. That's who's got them right now.
Because trying to get this stuff there is a serious product deficiency right now.
We've been able to get the water boxes and they've been pretty good. So yet again, that's what we're working on. And Planet Aquariums. That's our next love is Planet Aquariums because I just love those big thick glasses, like that 3/4 of an inch glass. They look hot. They're big. If you
ever loved the old oceanic tanks, Planet is the same thing.
Yeah.
They are way overbuilt. They're impressive. A normal tank that would take 4 people to move. If it's a Planet, you're going to need 6. Because it's overbuilt. The glass is thicker than it needs to be. It's just like the old Oceanics used to be.
Have you ever thought about doing classes of reefing 101, freshwater 101, like worldwide corals loss? Yes, that is something that's hit us. Just kind of bear with us. We're going to pretty much do these videos as like an intro video. Every week, we're going to give you guys a different topic, and I want to get you to, and we're going to preview the topic. So next week, I want to get into the all-in-one series. Whatever tank, it doesn't matter if it's an innovative marine, it doesn't matter if it's a tide line, it doesn't matter if it's a water box. I'm going to show you guys from our experience what we've done with those because they are the best. If you're thinking about getting into a saltwater tank and you're nervous about it, right? You just don't want to invest into like a 100.3 or a 130.4 or something with a full sump on stuff because you're just not sure of how to do it. An all-in-one works fantastic, especially nowadays, right? Everything is frags, not colonies, and you can see it filling faster. Some of that's more advanced. We try to get them onto like a sump tank, and because we know in reality is all you diehards out there, you're going to fill that tank so fast and realize you want to go to a bigger tank. But someone learning a 20-gallon, one of those 30 gallons, so it was 50 gallons. The 50.3 has been super popular, and you can load it up with primes. That's our go-to. Like we always use AIs. We use AI primes and Hydra 32s. That's like our 2 favorite lights because they work, they get the job done,
and they're affordable.
And that's the other thing, right? So like that was like what the OSA Choice brand was totally built on. There's a lot of products out there, right? There's so many. The OSA Choice was the best, good, and better. You always just trying to have all those options and be able to give you those options. So sometimes you're like, all right, for the price, this might be the best thing for your buck. How long do you medicate quarantine saltwater fish before you sell them? Can we be confident that when you buy fish that is healthy eating and parasite free? That's a great question. I'm going to give you guys honest to truth. When they come in, we hit them with copper. First thing we hit them with Fix-Ic. Then they go through a copper inside the system. Then they're all fed on metronidazole with a heavy UV sterilization, also with hyposalinity at the same time. But there's no way I can guarantee parasite free because at that point you would actually take anywhere from when you deal with a major public aquarium, you're talking 90 to 120 days. That'd be the only way you'd be able to do it. And if you add fish to that system, it automatically sets the clock. So you would never be able to add fish in that time. We do the absolute best we can do, but we cannot make promises.
We get the quarantine process started for you. It's up to you to finish it.
And that's something
you
really
can add, any of my customers know that I will not sell a fish that's not eating. I am very honest about that aspect of it. As long as it looks healthy and it's eating and you want it, it is up to you. It's up to you to finish the process. We get it started. We have such a high turnover rate here. It would take forever for us to fully quarantine a fish, and the price would be astronomical once that quarantine process was done.
Yeah, and that's
just being totally honest.
We just would never be able to do it. And that's why for when it comes to services or anything like that, we make sure we try to get everybody to put a quarantine tank in. And honestly, that's something you should always be doing. You should have a quarantine tank, at least a 40-gallon for your display tank. Because when you're putting that much time and effort and everything, when it comes down to saltwater, you just want to be able to have that. Because it only takes one wrong fish for it all to turn into a nightmare. And anyone who's ever out there has ever had a velvet issue where it's just wiped out the tank in 40, it is heartbreaking. It is like the most, I can't even describe it. Like on you guys that have been through it, it's just like you've just watched fish that you've searched forever to find, and they become family members. You know, you sit there and you love watching them. They have certain personalities, and to watch it go bad is the absolute worst. So that's why one of the biggest things we always push is a quarantine tank. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the help.
We miss you, Ruggers.
We haven't seen you.
Stop in once in a while.
You gotta stop in and take a look out. If you guys have any future topics that I love that about Joe and Al, you guys naming clownfish. That's fantastic. If you guys also have any topics you wanted to know, we're gonna take out anything. If you let us know in the comment section, we're gonna use that for future episodes as we move on down the line. Ernie, anything you want to add, brother?
It's been a roller coaster ride, and it's just good to be back. I look forward to working with you guys. This guy has got me aquascaping freshwater tanks now, and I've gotten pretty good at it. So if you guys really want a nice freshwater tank aquascape, I'm a saltwater dude, but I can make you a really nice aquascape freshwater tank.
Alan, we actually have a video on that. I'll go through that. I'll just remind that, and I'll show you guys next week, because obviously this whole is talking about a lot about quarantine and parasites and things like that. And I think maybe that needs to be brought up more. And in fact, I think what we might need to go into right on is actually what we do for quarantine processes. Because I don't know if you guys use this. Like our go-to is like a metronidazole for the fish food, right? When we treat fish, right?
Metro can.
Yeah, because you're going to treat fish two ways, right? You're going to treat them externally and you're going to treat them internally. And then that's the best way. When it comes out, we even have a Metro Flake we have custom made for us. So when you feed the fish, they get in the metronidazole inside them. They are, remember, these fish are almost all field collected, wild collected. They through where they're being held and before they get to the amount of stress level that goes through these fish before they even get to that stage is insane. So like there's a lot of time and effort in how to get into them. That's why one of the things is too here why we feed so much frozen. We pound them full of food. Like if you ever see us feed the saltwater fish, you'd be like, that is not right. That is way too much food.
Do not do what we do at home.
Because our object is to just get them to pound and eat as much food
and to
as
get
possible.
them to eat, period.
And that's
a lot of these guys are not used to eating anything but live plankton or live smaller fish. Getting them switched over to frozen is a very difficult thing to do. We get that part done. A lot of y'all wonder if they're eating pellets or flakes. That one's on you. I get them eating frozen. They're eating something. If you want to switch them over, it's even harder to get them on pellets and flakes. So once they're home with you, a month or two in, then you can start trying to get them switched over to pellet or flakes.
And there's some fish that just do not do well. There's a lot of fish that just don't belong in aquariums that are sold in the industry that don't like Moorish idols do not belong in they just don't. They don't belong because they don't do well.
I can speak from experience. I'm the guy that always says, oh, it can't be done. I'm going to do it. My longest success story with Moorish idols was 15 months. A lot of people think that's success. I don't think anything under 5 years is success. And I tried multiple times, and 15 months was the max. I'm not the leave a fish in the ocean guy, but with Moorish idols should be left in the ocean. They're not suitable for aquarium life.
And that's the true facts on many things. What's the best way to get rid of hair algae? Ooh,
manual removal.
Yeah, I mean, there's different. So like manual removal, reducing the phosphates, right? Because you have phosphates and nitrates already correlated, and you have excess organics inside the water column, and then also using the best cleanup crew as possible, right? Because what happens if you're doing one thing and not the other thing, it's not enough. Like the cleanup crew can't go after the algae fast enough because
it's a process. Here's a process that works. We've done this very successfully with a lot of our customers' tanks. You remove as much of the hair algae manually as possible as you can. You put in fuzz out, shut your lights off for 72 hours. After that 72 hours, you're going to notice the hair algae isn't green anymore. It's got a grayish color to it. That's when you do a 20 to 30% water change. Once it gets that grayish color to it, it sucks right off the rocks. So you can clean most of that out. Once that's done, put in a good cleanup crew, and usually you're off and running and you're in decent shape. You got to figure out what the cause of the hair algae was, though. It's probably high phosphates, high nitrates. It's usually caused by overfeeding or leaving your lights on for too long. Those are the two main causes of it. So,
or an overstock tank.
Well, my tank's really overstocked.
Yeah, it is. All right, I'll give you that. So, would you recommend an auto doser for a mixed reef cube 20? Ernie probably would. I would wait a minute before. Let me finish this. Or is that overkill? I mean,
a 20, I'd just do water changes weekly. A 20 is going to keep up with that, even if it's overstocked. 20% water change if it's overstocked.
We don't even run protein skimmers on those because the organics usually aren't even enough for the 20. Even on all those all-in-ones, you can.
Anything over 50 gallons, I'm automating the whole thing.
But yeah,
the 20 water changes will keep up with it.
Because you're just doing so many water changes and they look great. Especially anybody getting into a 20-gallon, like an AO. Woo!
You've got to do the water changes anyway. So
you do. And I guess so many people, you got some people out there, they're like, I never do a water change. And I got to say, I've seen tanks where I'm like, wow, I got to say, that's pretty impressive. But that is like such a small percentage. You got to do water changes. The amount of water changes we do here is insane. Joseph Pelletier.
Why, thank you, Joe. That
Why,
means a
thank
lot.
you. So you guys don't know. We'll be able to, once we get going, we'll be able to bring anybody in here. And that's one of the things we want to be able to. We're going to start bringing guests in here. This platform is pretty cool. We'll be able to bring guests in here. We'll be able to bring in the other crews from the other stores, show you guys what's going on. We just came in, see what you guys are doing, just because we haven't been back in so a while. And I feel like there's so many of you guys out there. And the shows, we haven't really been able to do many on shows. We got to do Rico Palooza in New York this year. But that was really
you
it.
Did.
And I did. We didn't get to. There was no. That's what I'm saying. And there was no. Anyway, Frag Farmers Market.
I haven't been to a show since Frag Farmers Market 2 years ago.
Yeah, Frag Farmers Market. That's it. I am new to saltwater and set up a Fuval Evo 13.5. 3 weeks into the cycle, stock, foam, and media. But I want to move the rack with more specific media. Would change and now affect my cycle. You're gonna have a little bit of effect because of the size of the tank. What I like about the Evos, we see those turn around. Those are super popular. The only issue with you guys, you're gonna realize is you're just, when you do get that established, you're very limited, obviously, what you can put in that tank. But it gets anyone to jump into the saltwater aquarium, especially for corals, like corals that could grow to that light. Remember, you're mostly at mushrooms, GSPs, very softies to grow with that, but it gets you excited going from it. But you're not fitting really much inside that tank. But yeah, you might run into that. We base everything off of the rock. The rock is our life support.
If it's working right now, don't change it because you're so new into it, and that volume of water can change drastically if something does change. So wait it out a month or two before you try changing up anything in the media basket as far as where it is at.
When stocking a saltwater tank, does the inch to a 3-gallon ratio still apply, or has that changed due to new filtration and technology? I feel
depends on the fish.
I feel like that's a good question, though.
It's a really good question, but it depends on the fish.
So yes, it does. Ernie,
I've got an Achilles tank, and since he was 4 inches long, he's been in a 7-foot long tank, and he needs all of those 7 feet. He just needs them. The same rule applies with powder blues, powder brown. If a tank comes, or a fish in general comes from a surge zone, they need much more swimming space and less competition for that swimming space. Whereas you've got, say, a bunch of cardinals, that rule doesn't really apply at all. Or royal grammas or clownfish that don't swim. They just hang out. And
then you're dealing with personalities, right? Saltwater fish have personalities, and every single one is different. And anyone out there knows that they probably bought a fish, that fish got along with something great, and also one day their tank just wailed and took out all these other fish, and now you can't do that fish back in the tank. You are literally playing the personalities of your fish, and that's the chance you're riding. You could be building an entire tank. You could be doing a 150-gallon tank with 3 fish, and you don't even know it yet.
Fish are a lot like people. They all have different attitudes and personalities. You might have 99 of them that are model citizens, and you put, oh, this guy's great, and he's the serial killer out of that 100 fish. You never know. Clown triggers are known for that.
Oh, clown triggers are the worst, especially in fish onlys, because they're cute and cuddly and they're awesome colors.
They get about 4 inches and they lose their mind.
They just change and you're like, what just happened?
Oh, my fish are chewed up. What happened?
To ensure the water values are good enough for corals, how often should I test out calcium, phosphate, and magnesium? It depends on the type of the corals and it depends on the type of the system. Average, I'm going to say, how often would you say, twice a week?
Alk and calcium twice a week. If your alk and calcium are close to where they need to be, you don't really need. I'm going to catch flack for this. You don't really need to test magnesium if your alk and calcium are close to where they're supposed to be. The magnesium keeps those two in check. I've checked magnesium manually myself over 31 years, probably 4 times. I specifically bought a Trident so I didn't have to test magnesium, and the magnesium never changes. I've noticed that over the 2 years I've had the Trident. So phosphates, it's a good idea to check them at least once a week.
Phosphates
for a month or two. If everything is staying the same and you're not changing anything, they're not going to change either.
I feel like a reef tank will tell you too. I know that sounds weird.
You can tell by looking.
You can tell by looking at a reef tank.
Eventually.
And know what? We joke around about it all the time. I feel like a reef tank, it's always like it goes good and then there's a problem. You're just always trying to solve a problem because once you solve that problem, it's going good. Get ready for the next one because it's on its way, baby.
Euphyllias are great canaries. Hammers, frog spawns, torches. You can tell by looking if something is off by the way they look. They're a great tell that something's off. It's usually an elk swing, but
that's it, baby. Guys, I appreciate it so much. I think we're going to get ready to get out of here. We haven't seen you guys back. Make sure you guys join us next week. I want to go over the all-in-ones section, and then I also want to prep for you guys, a lot of guys, especially because parasite issues and things like that, especially when it comes down to quarantine. And I want to take like an entire time and spend a lot of time on that because we've pre-done some videos with that, and I want to be able to show you guys more in depth. And we're going to talk about, we're going to split this. We're going to split this, the saltwater side, and we'll split that on the freshwater side. So we're covering both aspects. Guys, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Ernie, you want to say anything at all?
We're still saltwater, guys. Don't worry. Keep on reefing, baby.
Max out, baby. On that, were we?
Nope.
Did that?
Nope.
Okay, all right, Peter, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, how'd you feel about it? Good?
Feels great. Now I know where to move everything else. I just wanted to see where it was, so I already